Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Israeli Jazz Vocalist, composer, and arranger Sivan Arbel. We talked to her back on May 9th, 2020 about her presence on the international jazz scene in this new COVID-19 world of no live music. Her original music, arrangements, and lyrics open a window into her rich inner world full of artistic expressions and her love of jazz and other diverse musical influences originating in her Israeli roots and global travels. She opens up about all of this and more. Enjoy.
Thank you for taking a minute out. I want to start off by asking you, your latest CD, Change of Light. It has to be bittersweet. You have this new album, relatively new from last year, out. People can listen to it, but you can't do anything to back it up live. Talk to me a little bit about those feelings.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. Well, people don't buy CDs online even, or barely on Bandcamp. So the main income that we have is through live shows. Specifically in New York City, people don't purchase a lot of CDs here in live shows, but I was supposed to go to Europe last month, and of course that didn't happen. So, you rely on these things, but nothing really is happening, so you just got to do what you do and put out some sort of content so you can be in the radar. But it's not an easy time to do it because, we're just trying to keep the music out there at the moment.
Yeah. So let's talk about your beginnings. You're from Israel.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with jazz and what your childhood was like.
Well, growing up in Israel, I didn't really have an access or any connection to jazz, because all we had is like the radio and MTV, and my parents they're not really musicians. So the first time I was introduced to jazz was actually in high school in the music program. And I had a teacher who taught us the history of jazz and, R&B, rock and roll, how it developed. So at that moment when he played us, some tracks and even some gospel music, I got hooked straight away, and since then I'm just diving into that. I studied jazz in a music school called Rimon. It's like a college, and then I finished my studies actually in Ireland, in Dublin. They have a jazz program that's connected to our program in Israel, so I did that and learned so many things and just continued that path in New York, and here we are.
So was it always a dream of yours to come to America?
No. I think for me was just the dream was to perform, but as I, went deeper into the music, I think after 3 years in Israel, studying jazz in Israel, the community and the community of musicians is so talented and such an amazing, group of people and musicians that are there, and yet it's really, really small. So I always really wanted to explore other places, and Dublin came, it was an option for me, so I went to do that. And after Dublin, I still felt the need to explore a wider range of musicians and other types of music and other types of collaborations. And New York was the first option in mind, and I just went for it.
What was the first live jazz show you saw that made you think, man, this is something I'd like to do?
I need to go back in my brain. The live jazz show, you said?
Yeah.
Man, I was in high school, and one of my classmates was really into jazz when we were like 17 or something. And he told me that one of his teachers was a guitar player. He's playing somewhere in Tel Aviv. Now, I wasn't born in Tel Aviv. I was born in a small village outside of Tel Aviv, like right between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So it was a hike to go to Tel Aviv if you don't have a license. So I took a bus and everything, and I got to this bar, and I saw some, I met with him and other classmates, and we saw that live show. I don't even remember the names of the musicians, but I think that's the first concert that I've ever seen.
Right on. So, we're in this absence of live music, and, obviously there's so many levels of longing that go into this. What good memories of being on stage or performing with other musicians are you drawing on right now to get strength and to kind of keep your spirits up?
Good memories for me is playing with my band, and it doesn't really matter where. We're having a blast. It can be on a small stage or on a big stage. But I think just the fact that we get to come together and bring people together is something that I really, really miss. And to be playful on stage and to get people to jam with us, not musically, just in the spirit and in the energy of the room, and go through something that we cannot touch. It's just felt, and it's felt because of the music that we create and bring this energy to the room. And I get a lot of time now to practice by myself, which is great, but that just emphasized how much I miss playing with other people. Yeah. So what do you like the best about being a musician? Performing, sharing the music that we share, and to inspire other people. And when I say inspire, it doesn't mean that they will do the exact same thing that we do. It's just to inspire them in a conscious or unconscious way to open up and be themselves. This is, I've discovered in life more and more that this is my mission, to just, show example and give people the opportunity to just be themselves and to explore that all the time.
Yeah. So why do you love jazz?
I think that what jazz, special gem is to really be able to express yourself and to, be playful and to always be in a place where you can research and go deeper into everything that you do. Even if it's a tune that you've played a gazillion times, you can still, you can still really, bring out and express. That's the word I was looking for. You can really express yourself where you're at that moment exactly. And I think jazz allows it all the time. That's the beauty in jazz.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. We're going to get back to live music at some point. We don't know when. We're all shrouded in ambiguity right now, but it will happen. And when it does, what do you hope both the musician and the crowd realizes about this absence of live jazz, revelations they may have when they come back?
Well, I think the revelations are already happening, and I think there's going to be, or I hope that there's going to be a deeper appreciation to live music and how much it just brings people together, and to also appreciate what a big role musicians, artists, dancers, whoever is a performer and brings culture to this world has such a big impact on the world. And there's we have this access to, online, listening to music online, and we have the radio and the TV and YouTube and everything. But it's not the same as going and seeing a live show.
My final question is always the hardest, so I keep it at the very end. And I want to know, everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one living your life. Who do you think you are?
I think what you said is actually something that really resonates with me, that is raw. And rawness and truth, as much as I try, honest and light. I am just me. I'm so many things. Fearless, trying to be. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I like it. That's the beauty of this answer is that it can go in any direction. So thank you for taking some time out to talk with Neon Jazz today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Israel, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Sivan for her time, music, and story. And if you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.